Hello everyone, Xbox Heroes here, and today we are filming the Q&A. We got a lot of questions, probably too many, but we're going to go through all of them, including the ones that were past the deadline. You know who you are. Right, let's get straight into the first question, where it's from Roomba Wars Tyler, 1 day ago. What is your favourite BattleBots robot other than Lucky? Foxtrot. Foxtrot is really cool. It's a good looking robot. Sadly, it didn't have the best reliability because it's a Danby machine and they never do have good reliability, but hopefully Slammo can change that. I'm a bit sad that it's not coming back for Season 5, but Foxtrot would be my favourite BattleBots machine other than Lucky. If Bite Force changed their weapon again, what do you think it would be? Because of how popular they've become recently, I'd say probably a Flipper. Obviously it has the vertical spinner. I don't see why they would change their weapon again. Even if they lose the season, they've won 2 championships with the vertical spinner. I don't see why they would change it, but if they did, probably a Flipper. They've already done like the Crusher Lifter combo, which was good, but if they entered that again then they'd get destroyed. So, probably a Flipper. What else do I like other than BattleBots? Formula 1, Pokemon, a lot of things really. None are coming to mind right now. Some TV shows, and I know nobody watches television anymore, but still. We like Young Sheldon, the Goldbergs, things like that. So just fun TV shows. Thank you for your questions. Our next set of questions are from Typhoon Robotics. Who is your favourite custom robot that you made? Probably Chariot, the middleweight reigning champion. I like Chariot. I didn't really like it that much at first, but then it became really popular, and now I like it. It's the lifter bot. It's won some stuff. So yeah, I like Chariot. It's a very clean looking robot. I'm very proud of it. It was made 2 years ago, and it's quite sturdy. It's good at controlling things. So that would be my favourite custom robot of mine. What is your favourite fan-made Robot Wars robot from a series other than yours? God, there's so many, and I haven't watched all of the series yet. So I like Grated Carrot, even though the bot builder isn't that fond of it. Absolution is really cool. Demolition Man from Small Scale Robot Wars. Pizza Time from Robot Chaos. So many things. There's another robot from, I think it was Zenith Robotics series. Yeah, I think it is. And his thumbnail on Discord, it has like 2 lifters, and it looks really cool. It reminds me of Chariot a bit. So I think if that's ever going to be in combat, then I will like that as well. Thank you very much for your questions. Our next questions are from Razor1905 2.0, and he says, okay, here are my questions. Favourite fan-made Robot Wars series and robot? God, there are so many series. I didn't start watching fan-made Robot Wars until about 2 years ago, in fact. SSRW was the first events that I watched, probably. So yeah, Razor has been uploading videos of his models for, I think, 2 years now, and they've definitely influenced mine. So SSRW would be up there. Robot Wars Omega from the bot builder is excellent. Model Wars as well, and Robot Chaos, loads of different things. So yeah, that's just a very large question. Do you still have your first model? My first model, I remember it clearly, was 12 years ago. I was on the floor watching Robot Wars Extreme. I stuck a paperclip in a box of raisins and called it a robot. I don't still have it. I'm not sure what it called. I'm not sure what it was called. I'm not sure clearly what it looked like either. But I remember it was a raisin box with a paperclip in it. So that was my first model. What robots do you think could beat Bite Force? Huge, because they have a lot of reach with their bar spinner. Everyone's been saying, oh, Bite Force would beat Huge, they'd come up with something. I don't know what Bite Force could come up with other than a horizontal spinner that could beat Huge, and either way, Huge is just going to get lots of hits in from overhead. They're going to probably damage Bite Force. I don't know if you guys know this. Uppercut was one hit away from beating Bite Force, because Bite Force is only made out of aluminium, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, that would be probably huge. Death Roll, I think, is capable if they just have a bit more stability. But I think they'd be able to dish out a few good hits and kill Bite Force. Something with, like, a really heavy hit. So something like Kronos, but much more reliable than Kronos, would probably be able to beat Bite Force. So there's a lot of machines. Approximately how many models have you built? Too many. Probably cardboard ones, a lot. Probably over 100. Lots of Lego ones over the years, but they're all lightweight, so you probably won't see all of them. Few K'NEX ones as well, about 15 K'NEX robots, some made out of Lego Technic. So basically anything that can be made into a robot has been made into a robot, and I've lost count. Nowhere near like the amount of that some people have. Like Robot Combat Models has about 2,000, which is, I don't know how you end up with like 2,000 models, but he did somehow. Thank you for your questions, Razor. The next questions are from the bot builder himself. What is your favourite robot in Minibot Wars? Like I said, Chariot. I know some of you like Robot X. I'm not that fond of it because of how difficult it is to fight with. Like it bends a lot, and people get frustrated at that. So probably Chariot. What is your favourite robot in Robot Wars Omega? God, there's so many. Your custom robots are like Plan B and Liftoff, and of course Grated Carrot. I like Primeval as well. It reminds me of Guardian a bit. Out of your actual replicas, we like Aftershock, we like Orbi Blade, we like Death Roll. There's so many. You've made so many robots, and I can't pick. I'm going to be forgetting a lot, obviously. Who is your favourite subatomic member? Probably, at the moment, I'm in a good mood with Neutrino. It did well in your account, Mayhem, better than I expected, despite not having upgrades from last time. So, you know, at the moment, I'm in a good mood with Neutrino. Chargino was good, but it needs some refining if it wants to be competitive again, although it did exactly what I wanted it to. But Neutrino was exceeding my expectations. Tachyon got flipped out of the arena a lot, so did Photon, so they need some upgrades for next time. Why is Litten your favourite Pokemon and not the God Quagsire? I'm literally wearing a Litten t-shirt right now. Litten is amazing. It's just perfection, but a cat. And fire as well. It's a cat that breathes fire. How are you telling me that a little Quagsire, it looks like a donut, is better than a fire-breathing cat? You're out of your mind. Thank you for your questions, the bot builder. Robot Fighting Replicas Ertwars, congrats on 300, thank you. Congrats on 100 subscribers that you hit recently. Question, why did you originally start this channel? I started this channel because my friends were all starting channels. None of them are still on YouTube, but we still are. Lots of my early videos aren't on YouTube anymore because they're too cringe, I just took them down. So the first videos were obviously just like Hexbug races and battles and things, so not stuff that you guys would probably be interested in, which is why I took them down. We've moved on from that. We're into BattleBots now and Film-Made Robot Wars, so that is why I originally started this channel. In what order did I watch Robot Wars? I don't know. Robot Wars. I think you mean Robot Wars, but I remember bits of Extreme 1 and Extreme 2 from when I was little. Then the Series 2 reruns came on TV. See, on YouTube I just watched lots of random battles in no particular order. I just saw loads of random battles. I really remember watching Constrictors fights, because there was a video about Robot Wars Constrictor. A really obscure robot. I remember watching it. So yeah, in no particular order really. I got the gist of how things went down anyway, but when I've probably sat down and watched the series in the last few years. I don't really remember the order. I've never watched Series 3, which I need to do. I know it's terrible, but I've never watched Series 3 of Robot Wars. When did you first watch BattleBots? I remember seeing Blender many years ago, and I was like, nah, BattleBots isn't good. And then I remember seeing the 2016 series that found their way onto British TV, some of the episodes, and I liked it. But because Robot Wars was happening at the same time, I didn't think it was as good as Robot Wars. Then I started watching Mr. Psycho's live reviews. Then he announced that there was going to be a season 3 of BattleBots. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I watched it, and it was amazing. And that is how I like BattleBots now. So the classic BattleBots, I've only watched through Mr. Psycho's live reviews again. But so a long time ago I first watched BattleBots, and I wasn't fond of it at first. Thank you for your questions, Ertwas. Jonathan F. commented, who will win? I'm not sure. Biteforce versus Huge rematch. I'd say probably Huge again, because they've got the reach, they'll win the judge's decision. I don't see what Biteforce can do to Huge unless they become a horizontal spinner overnight. So probably Huge. Tombstone versus Sour would be Sour, because Tombstone's bar breaks extremely easily. Their wheels are exposed. They're not the best armoured either, from what I've heard. And Sour's obviously got like 360 degree protection with their really heavy weapon. So as long as they keep the weapon spinning, then I don't see how Tombstone's going to win against Sour. Tombstone versus Icewave would be Tombstone, because Icewave's bar broke really easily against Biteforce. Because Tombstone's bar is really heavy, I'd say probably Tombstone again, because they snapped the bar in half. Bronco versus Yeti. I know you like Bronco, it's your favourite robot, but I'd say probably Yeti, because Yeti is really fast, really aggressive, they've got a really big weapon. Bronco's been kind of scared of spinners in the past. If Yeti get round to the sides and start damaging Bronco's wheels and stuff, it's game over. And because Yeti's really quick and Bronco's just such a long machine, that's probably going to happen at some point. So I'd give that to Yeti. Sawblaze versus Whiplash would be Whiplash, because Sawblaze rears up all the time. Like, it drives forward, the wedges are off the ground, and Whiplash can take advantage of that with its vertical spinner and lifter. Sawblaze versus Scorpios, I'd give to Scorpios, because again, Sawblaze drives forward, I think they call them pontoons, they rear up. Scorpios can just bring the saw down, get some good hits in. I don't see what Sawblaze can do to Scorpios either, because it's such a weird shape anyway. Like, how would you pick that up and try and hit it with a saw blade? I don't understand. Hydra versus Biteforce would be Biteforce, because Hydra is a new machine, it needs some improving. If that flipper gets bent, it's not as serious as Bronco, as when the flipper immediately gets bent, then it's like game over, but I don't think they have the driving to beat Biteforce, the speed, or the durability just yet. Thank you for your questions, Jonathan. Our next set of questions are from Deadslot142. Go and check out his series, very underrated. Congrats on 300 subscribers, thank you. My question, what is your favourite and least favourite robot of all time? Now, obviously, you know Lucky is my favourite BattleBot. My favourite Robot Wars machine is Hypnodisc. And I think it'll probably be Hypnodisc as my favourite Robot Wars machine of all time. I'm not sure, because again, Hypnodisc is an old robot, hasn't been around for a while. Lucky is the future, you know. One day, Lucky's going to win the BattleBots Championship, and it will be my favourite robot of all time. My least favourite robot of all time, it probably wouldn't be a modern robot, because they're really expensive, and for me to just start hating on them is not excellent. I'm not fond of Cherub at all. Like, it wins much more than it should, and it's never really been exciting to watch. Bigger Brother as well, because of how much it humiliated Hypnodisc, and it was just generally, I don't know, I wasn't fond of it at all. I like the team, but I'm not fond of Bigger Brother, and I'm not really fond of Cherub either. So, thank you very much, Deadslot, for your question. Crystal Carnage says, congratulations. Number 1, ice cream or cake? Where did that come from? Probably cake. Not a huge fan of ice cream, so it would be cake. Number 2, what custom machine would you like to compete with in BattleBots? I don't know. That is a good question. Let me think. Oh, you know, on the Discord, Glaciation, it was like a Brit flipper, but it had a drum spinner inside the robot that would bend up the opponent's wedge, so they could get the flipper in easily. I'd compete with that. It would probably get on the show because it's a unique design, and I like it very much, so I'd compete with Glaciation. Do you have any robot requests for Carnage Series 4? I have a lot of robot requests. I'm not sure whether you mean actual robots that you turn into replicas or custom machines. Let me have a think. I'd love to see Orion, like a mini Orion. I think your robots are a bit smaller than mine, so that might be a little bit tricky. But I'd love to see Orion. I'd like to see a mini Chariot as well, please. If that's okay. No Guardian from Minibot Wars. I'd like to see Guardian as well. And another actual robot I would like to see. If you don't have it already, I would love to see a mini Sub-Zero, please. So thank you very much for your questions, Crystal Carnage. If you brought Axion back from retirement, what would be its upgrades? Asked Delboy666. Axion, it would be less weak. Obviously, like the design wouldn't be centered so much around the axe, because axes aren't really the most efficient weapon, especially in fan-made Robot Wars. So you'd probably have wedgelets. It'd probably just a design that's less centered around the weapon. Like if you remember before, the axe kind of also worked as a front-hinged flipper because it was essentially the front plate of the chassis. So maybe if the axe was less central and more like an extra design, then that would be its upgrade. But I don't see Axion coming back out of retirement anytime soon. Thank you for your question. J33 Productions asks, what robots do you personally find underrated? Kronos is very underrated, although they still have a lot to prove in terms of reliability. Who else do I find underrated? Copperhead as well. People don't take it into account that it was a rookie bot, an egg beater spinner, which isn't very common, and it went 2 and 3, losing to Son of Waiachi, and in my opinion, shouldn't have been counted out against Kronos, but was anyway. Who else? Sidewinder as well. Like, Sidewinder we only had 2 fights, but it got absolutely decked in one of them, but in the other one, it absolutely destroyed P1. So I'd say Sidewinder as well. If there was an Annihilator in the reboot of Robot Wars, who would you put in and who'd win? I would put Aftershock, I would put Big Nipper, I would put... who else? I wouldn't put Eruption in, Rapid, because they're really entertaining. I put Magnetar in, Supernova, and Storm 2. Because you need some reliability, do you know what I mean? And out of those, I'd probably say Big Nipper would win. It's quite reliable. The spinners would just go, kill each other, take each other out. Storm 2 and Big Nipper would be in the final, I'd say. And Big Nipper, I think, would win. I don't know what that noise is, sorry. Favourite robot of all time, again, probably Lucky or Hypnodisc. I've already explained why. So, thank you for your questions. Turtle Noob asks, what are your personal opinions on Rewind? What is the most over and underrated bot in Robot Wars BattleBots King of Bots? So that's 2 in 1 there. So, Rewind, I believe, is with your Account Mayhem entry thing. It is excellent. I do really like it. I'm a bit scared of it, I can't lie. Like, if it goes up against Subatomic, I don't see Subatomic winning, and so so it's really good. I think you've had some success with it as well, actually. Didn't you make the quarterfinals of RCM's Account Mayhem? I can't remember. You beat Subatomic with it, so it's pretty good. What is the most over and underrated bot in Robot Wars, BattleBots, and King of Bots? Overrated bot in Robot Wars. I was gonna say Eruption, but then I remembered that they're the champion. But who else? I'd say probably Magnetar from Robot Wars. It's not a bad machine at all. In fact, it's really good. But people were kind of treating it like it was a really experienced, really successful robot, and it made the grand final. But in the series, it was often referred to as being, like the master and stuff like that. And I don't think it had earned that just yet. So I'd say maybe Magnetar, Cherub as well, and Gabriel. Like, I'm not fond of either of them, but everybody seems to like them. So, in my opinion, they're quite overrated. In BattleBots, overrated machines would be... At this point, I'm thinking Whiplash, because the team enter each season with a design that's kind of not really changed, and they lose in the same way every single time. It's their wheels get ripped off, then their front armour, and it needs some big changes before it can be really successful again. Do you know what I mean? In King of Bots, I don't know enough about the robots in King of Bots. I just watch the fights. I don't even know what half of them are called, so I can't give you an answer there, sorry. Underrated bot in Robot Wars. Now that is interesting. Rapid is quite... Except it's quite rated now, so probably not Rapid. Supernova. People don't give credit to Supernova for how powerful it was. It's had some bad luck, but in Series 8, if I hadn't driven into the pit like it did, then I feel like it would have done very well. So I'd say Supernova from Robot Wars. Underrated from BattleBots, again, Chronos, Sidewinder, trying to think who else, Copperhead, Petunia as well, considering it's a crusher, and at the time of 2018 it was still quite unique, so I'd say Petunia as well. Again, King of Bots, underrated. I don't know enough of the robots to give you an answer there, so thank you for your question, Turtle Noob. Akimbi YT asks, how, and how? My answer to that would be because. Miastabliod asks, if you had to renounce robots altogether, what would your YouTube channel be about? Formula 1, or Pokemon, or both. Although, there's no chance of me renouncing robots anytime soon. Thank you for your question, Miastabliod. Also, love the thumbnail. Second, next question is from B Doggy. In what ways do you think Lucky could improve? Also, do you think Bite Force could win Season 5? If there is one, I hope. Yes. Lucky needs to improve by having bigger wheels and just generally better drive. Like, the wheels are so small and so fragile. I don't know what it is. They just never change anything. And bigger wheels, if it was more manoeuvrable, then they wouldn't need that much protection. So, I'd say probably just bigger wheels at the back, more protected wheels at the front. A better strategist as well. Like, they put the Spinner Killer Wedge on to fight, what was it called? Lockjaw, which wasn't great. They used one Wedgelet against Beta, which I still don't understand. So yeah, just better tactics as well. Also, do you think Bite Force could win Season 5? If there is one, I hope. Yeah, I hope there will be one as well. They could win it. I don't think they will. I don't think the producers want to see Bite Force win 3 times in a row. So, they're going to throw absolutely everything in their path. I'm talking Huge, Death Roll, Black Dragon, Cobalt. All of these things are going to be launched at Bite Force, and I don't see it winning against all of them. It could probably beat some of them, but not all of them. So, it could, but probably not. Thank you for your question. That Builder Boy asks, can I ask you a question? Go ahead. Super Gamer Deluxe asks, Deluxe? I don't know how you pronounce that. Asks, which BattleBot did you think was going to do well, but ended up sucking? Kingpin. Kingpin, man. It looks so cool, and I'd seen V for Victory And V for Victory was decent, but then Kingpin couldn't drive. So I was very disappointed with it. And Breaker Box as well. Breaker Box was like, I'd heard great things about them, and then it was so fragile. I was just thinking, why? Why? Why would you do this to me? Thank you for your question. Foxic44 asks, who are your favourite YouTubers? 51 seconds ago, it's very recent. My favourite YouTubers, I like a lot of YouTubers from the Robot Wars sort of community. Obviously, basically a lot of people who've asked questions already in this video, so the Bot Builder and Razor. There's a lot of people like that. Then actual YouTubers, we like Willany, and his second channel STW. We like Daniel Howell and Danny Gonzalez because we are truly Greg. We like Jaden Animations as well. I've been enjoying her videos recently, and Candy Evie as well. So a lot of different YouTubers. The Formula 1 YouTube channel is also quite funny sometimes. So yeah, that's a lot of YouTubers there who I like. Daz Games. How could I forget Daz? We love Daz. Daz is excellent. If you haven't seen Daz, then you don't know what life is just yet. Thank you for your question, Foxic, who totally isn't my second account. And someone who just snuck in before the deadline, Darkstalker Prime. You lucky boy. What would you say were your most shocking moments from BattleBots? Most shocking would be, I'd say Ribbot beating Endgame, and then Endgame beating Cobalt. Tombstone vs Duck, I remember, was incredibly shocking. Who else? Just everything from the final episode of the 2019 season I loved. It was so shocking, and I loved every second of it. So that was pretty shocking for me as well. What is your most controversial, unpopular opinion on BattleBots? There is the talking to fighting ratio is quite high. Like, obviously, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, there's too much talking, just show us the fights. I'm not one of them. I love seeing what goes on behind the scenes, but I think there is too much introduction for the BattleBots. Like, first you've got the interviews, then you've got the teams walking out, setting up, more interviews, then the interview with Chris and Kenny, then the introductions, then of course that little intro bit where it's like the lights flashing and the teams pressing the buttons. It's all good for the hype, but I can see people tuning away from BattleBots if there's no fighting happening. So I think they just need to cut down on that a little bit. I'd say that's an unpopular opinion. If the winners of Modern BattleBots fight with the winners of Modern Robot Wars, who do you think will win? So that would be Carbide, Eruption and Apollo against Biteforce and Tombstone. Even if it was 3-on-2 like that, Biteforce and Tombstone would still win. I don't know why, but the Robot Wars machines just aren't on par with the BattleBots machines. They just don't seem as strong as the BattleBots machines, which is unfortunate. So, thank you for your question, Darkstalker Prime, and thank you very much everyone for your questions. I think that was the last one. I have a question for YouTube now. Why are you not recommending my videos anymore? My channel got 4,000 views in the last 28 days. It's nowhere near as good as last year, and I don't like it. So I'm a bit worried with YouTube. So thank you very much for your questions, everyone. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for 300 subscribers as well. You're all amazing. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, I don't think many of you have, so I'm probably just talking to myself at this point. So thank you very much, and goodbye, or good night.